Hello, 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 everyone. Thank you for tuning in again this Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Happy Sunday to you. I am so excited this week because I have two special guests with me today. And I thought it would be so wonderful to have my babies, my future son in love, Roy, and then my baby girl, Lauren, to join us. They just recently did a live not too long ago speaking about long distance relationships. And I'll let them share with you what the name of the show was that they were participants in, and so and let them tell you a little bit about their experience. In the meantime, if you are watching from uh, YouTube or from Facebook, I would love for you to like, share, and to my YouTube channel, April S. Young. Please subscribe and leave a comment. I would welcome that. And so tonight we're going to be talking about conquering love from a distance. And so I'm going to let each of them speak in reference to their experience having a long distance relationship. And so I'm going to have you all share just a little bit with the live that you all had done recently.
Okay, you want to go first, maybe?
Oh, you go.
Of course you would. So we did the Skin Deep, and they have a platform for intimate conversations, not only for couples but with friends, coworkers, strangers. Like they just have these card decks, and it just opens up like a gateway to different conversations. We were interviewed by them, and they did do a video that you can find on YouTube under the Skin Deep, and it was about our relationship, like a little glimpse, our snapshot of our relationship. Highs, lows, tough moments, because during COVID we were unable to see each other. And if I were to count, it was 326 days, and we had canceled trips. We had to have our wedding celebration like postponed. We just it was just a really like difficult time. So that platform opened up for us to have a conversation, and we received a lot of positive feedback because there are other couples in the world going through the exact same thing, and they really thought they were the only ones. They were just like, nobody really understands, and we were just like, yeah, we're going through it too.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Okay, Roy, your take on that?
Yeah, so like the Skin Deep, a very good opportunity. What they did was give us like a list of provide us a list of questions, challenging questions, and kind of went from surface level to more in depth, very personal in our relationship. Allow us to be more vulnerable. I think the Skin Deep, I believe Skin Deep was a great opportunity for us to kind of to allow opportunity to do a reflection, self reflection of where we are, where we're going, and how we got to where we are now. And I actually appreciate the process because it created an opportunity for Laura and I to really have this moment in which we normally, being in a distant relationship, we tend to go, I say go through the motion. We practice good exercises, but it's not often that we have a platform where we're able to share how we are able to achieve and overcome our obstacles, and also to provide public listeners an opportunity to kind of like learn or observe and see that everyone has their peaks and valleys,
Mhm.
and although we're far apart, we're still able to maintain that cohesiveness and to continue putting God first and allow us to be an example to others all across the globe. And for me, I just thought like breathtaking because like how often you get to do this,
Yeah.
and then like the moderator was just excellent, and he provided questions, and Lauren and I both took turns asking each other questions, and it really we had no control over what we answered, and so that right there, it kind of allows you to it gives you no option, and so you have to go through it and kind of look into the camera, into the Zoom, seeing Lauren, she's seeing me. This is live, and it was just great.
Wow. Now, and let me first say that Lauren was here in the United States in South Carolina, and Roy was in the UAE. So he was in a totally different country. So it wasn't like they were from one state to the other state. It was another country. So that's even more difficult. And then when the pandemic came about, the travel was cut. They had planned a trip to go away to Egypt, and they were unable to do that. So the time away made it even more difficult. And then at the same time, you're trying to plan a wedding. And so, everything just seemed like it was just hitting the brick wall. But I want to talk about, even when it comes to relationships, when you are in the same state, when you are in the same house or same city, that's tough enough when things come up against you and you're like, okay, are we going to make it? But when you think about a couple, one is in South Carolina and the other is in the UAE, it's hard. You're talking about, serious distance between the two, and then having to resort to, phone conversation, text messages, maybe sometimes FaceTime lives, but that within itself can put a strain on a relationship. And so I want to talk about some of the things that you were tested with and how you were able to adjust to those moments in that long distance.
Okay.
So who wants to go? Don't everybody speak at once.
I can go first.
I'll go first.
Okay.
So a lot of times, I think people take for granted, the opportunities to kind of like work through problems face to face. I must say that I think is quite a blessing to be able to give someone a hug. It's just good to see, just to feel their energy on you. Because when you're in a remote location and you're 8 hours ahead, different time zones, it's quite a challenge to be able to line up, be having a aligned schedule, but then physically hug the person if you're not there. So how do you do that, right? Well, one thing that you must always keep in mind, the power of the tongue, have the ability to forgive and to be, intentional about the things you want to do, the belief, and how you encourage people, words of affirmation. And so, Lauren and I are able to overcome those obstacles because we're intentional about our time and our focus on each other. And we designate, we carve out time. We're going to do this way, this time. We may not have several hours, maybe 30 minutes. However, we're intentional about making that time for each other. And that's one way, one solution, one tool that we use to overcome a lot of our obstacles.
Wow.
Okay, I think also communication and a lot of patience and understanding. Things can get lost in the mix a lot through a text message or a phone call when you can't see the person. And I'm very sensitive to energy and like how like vibes and stuff are. So if something's off, I want us to like fix it. But it's a big challenge trying to do that when you're living on two separate continents. So we had to take the extra time to put work into our relationship, to communicate effectively and to fight fair.
Right.
As we mentioned in the video that was posted last week, we don't have the option to sit there and say, well, I'm gonna just hang up, because that's it. He's in another country, he's 8 hours, sometimes 9 hours ahead, or if he's traveling, he's 12 hours ahead. So it's like, okay, like how can we move past this? And I think being empathetic to one another and not get so easy to get frustrated or so quick to just be like, these are my feelings, you need to try to understand me, or try to understand like where your partner's coming from. I think those are tools that really helped us, because it really takes work and commitment.
And love is very important. And in John 15:12, it says, this is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. And so sometimes when you're in a relationship, you might get to a place where you don't like them right now. you're in love with them, but you may not like them. But we are to love one another as Christ has loved us. And so your love is going to be tested, when you have to deal with a distance relationship. And so that's the love portion of it. But you were going to say something, Roy?
Yeah, I wanted to add something else.
Mm-hmm.
Another factor that I think people sometimes tend to overlook is that I'm to believe that people grow. I say people change, but you grow.
Mm-hmm.
The person I am today in 2020 was not the person that Lauren met in 16.
Mm-hmm.
Neither is she.
Mm-hmm.
And so people grow with time. And so you have to also continue to learn, to understand,
Mm-hmm.
and to grow in their relationship with the person.
Mm-hmm.
And that sometimes can either be a challenge, or it can be either be an advantage or a disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
However, again, coming back to being intentional, putting in the time. One thing I always ask Lauren every day is, what's challenging your peace today? And that gives me a snapshot opportunity to kind of take a dive into her day to understand what happened,
Right.
and also
Right.
show her that I care. And
Mhm.
although I'm not there, I would like.
See, that's good. And you had mentioned something earlier about communication, and I cannot continue to stress communication enough. In my book, How to Be a God Wife, Not Just a Good Wife, we talk about communication is key. And so keeping the lines of communication open. And so as you stated a few minutes ago, Lauren, you can't just say, okay, I'm going to hang up now. And you hang up the phone. And it's like, okay, he's a whole day away. And it's like, okay, that's not going to solve anything.
Yeah, it's unhealthy.
And it's very unhealthy. And so you have to realize in a relationship, it's not just about you. You have to consider the other's feelings. And so that is so very important. So I love the fact how you all do whatever you can. You extend, the attention, the love, even if it's a distance away. And I love how you all do that. And so you have been an example of what true love can do, what true love can, conquer. And so I want to commend both of you on that, because I know it wasn't easy, and I remember when Mike was over and when he was overseas and we were in a relationship. He was overseas for 7 months, and it was really hard, but we did everything we could to keep the lines of communication open. And so, we did the messenger thing, and we were able to see each other on computer and talk, and then the calls when he could make the calls. And so it wasn't easy, but we were, as you said, Roy, intentional. And that's so important in a relationship. You have to be intentional, especially if you know that God has placed you two together and this is the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. And so I'm sure that you both have found that that you were meant to be together, because when you met Lauren, let's talk about that. When you met Lauren, how did you know? How did you know she was the one?
So there's a few things that I like a checkbox in my mind that I look for. I really appreciate a person's story.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate a person's upbringing, and I also appreciate a person's morals, their value set. What they hold value to the most.
Right.
And from our initial conversation, all those things align with Lauren. However, something else that I had not experienced before, I kind of felt walking away, there was some type of, for me, a necessity to continue to grow this relationship. Mm-hmm. I didn't really know where it was going, to be honest. She could have been a long-term friend,
Right.
However, I just felt like I cannot let her go.
Mm-hmm.
And over time it gets developed, and I really got to know her even more. And I think she got me when she cooked for me, and she got me through the stomach.
Oh my God, that's the best way. That's the best way. That's amazing, because you had a checklist that you knew that you were trying to, and I speak about that in the book. Making your requests known unto God. If you got to make a list out in reference to what it is you desire in a mate, and you stand on that and you believe that God will fulfill that. And then at the same time, I honestly believe that there's someone, whether it's the male somewhere that you believe in God for a husband, or he's believing for a wife, he could be doing the same thing as well. believe in God, making his list known. And then before you know it, your paths cross and you actually meet. And so it's very important that you have a criteria. I mean, you just don't just settle for just anything. So Lauren, for you, it was a little different when you met him. What were your thoughts when you met Roy?
I wasn't interested at all. Like, he was a complete turn off. Like, our first date, when we had our first date, I had my homegirl that goes to the bathroom. I'm gonna call you, and I'm gonna like break out, like I'm gonna leave. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So she was ready by her phone. And but during the date, I was just like, I don't know if I'm feeling this guy. Like, he just keeps talking and talking and talking, and it's about him. So, and I went to the bathroom, and I ended up not calling her. I came right back out, and when I left, I was like, I am never going out with this guy again, ever.
Oh my God! Wow.
He was consistent. He was persistent, and I later found out that the reason why talked about himself so much, he was like, I was just trying to tell you everything that you need to know about me, because this could have been like my only shot. And I was like, okay, I can get that, because it didn't come off as arrogant or cocky. It was like oversharing. And I was like, because I'm just normally just a private person, so like if I don't tell you, you won't know.
Right.
And he was just an open book, like, this is everything about me in my life, and I'm like, okay. But I was not interested at all. But over time, it just got better and better and better. So
I've noticed that you both have grown in the relationship, and I like I said, I love the fact that you all are intentional when it comes to one another. And I love the fact that because you are a young couple, you set goals. You have standards for yourself, and I really appreciate the fact that when you're planning for a future, you both are in sync. You both are on the same page, and that's very important, that you're walking as one. It says in Deuteronomy 6:5, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and with all your strength. And I heard you say, keeping God first. And so when you both love the Lord and have him in your heart, that's the best foundation right there. And then you keeping him as the center. And then I had one of the words that I talked about love. I'm talking about fight, and fighting for your relationship when things look bleak and you know that God has placed you together as one. Exodus 14:14 says, the Lord will fight for you and you shall hold your peace. No matter who or what will try and come against you, God will be your strength in times of adversity. And so, you're going to have people that are not going to be in agreement with your relationship. You're going to have people that are going to try to come between your relationship. You're going to have people that may be jealous of your relationship. And so you know how to handle that, because one, you're walking together. And the main thing is you allowing God to be your foundation. And that's where your strength lies. And so I once again, I want to commend you both in reference to that.
thank you.
Yes, thank you for joining us. See Jackie up here. I'm at a distance, you guys, so I can't see everything. But I see Sharella's up here, and Jackie, I see you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, for joining tonight. Once again, if you are watching, please share this live. I think this is some very important information that needs to be shared, especially with young couples that are considering getting married. And these two, are planning a wedding, and so they had to go through the process of postponing until next year, 2021. And so, it's a time when, they really had to come together and accept the fact that it's going to have to be planned until next year. Also, I have my book, How to Be a God Wife, Not Just a Good Wife, and my book, Daughter of Thunder, The Calm After the Storm. Both books are available on digital outlets. And so if you would like to have a personal copy, please let me know. You can inbox me. This is How to Be a God Wife, Not Just a good wife. And it's totally inspirational. And once again, ladies, I did not forget the single ladies. Walk in your divine wholeness. And so that is something that I think is very important in the book. where it talks about when you're looking for a mate and you believe in God for that mate, and what to accept and what you don't have to accept or settle. You never have to settle. Settling is not an option. And I have that in my Walk in Your Divine Wholeness for singles. And once again, it's available on all digital outlets. And I do have some copies available if you'd like to have a personal signed copy. And my latest release, Daughter of Thunder, The Calm After the Storm. This is my memoir. And so this was a book that I feel that will inspire one when you feel like things are looking bleak and you don't know what to do, and when you know that God is your foundation and your answer. So this book is also available on all digital outlets. Also, I have PayPal if you would like to, if you're interested in getting the book. So I do have PayPal available for that. All right. The Skin Deep. Please tell us about the Skin Deep interview.
You can find our interview on the Skin Deep on YouTube. Will put the link in the comments below. And I will also post like the trailer one as well, so you all can see it. It was a really good interview.
It really was. It was touching. It moved me to tears. Yeah. So, yeah. So how many views did you all get for that? It was over.
I mean, I think it's at like 6,000.
Yeah,
6,000.
It's over
Yeah.
It's over 6,000 views.
Like 6,000 views. Like it's a lot of people have found it to be relatable,
Right.
and I'm just glad that it blessed somebody.
Yes.
Because people are going
Yes.
through the exact same thing.
Right.
So yeah, and I will also be blogging about the experience on my website, Legal and Abroad, and you all can follow me on Instagram at Legal and Abroad. It's a legal travel blog because we love to travel. I love traveling, and I also write about like my law career as well and lifestyle things. So
That's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And one of the other words I thought about love. I thought about fight, because sometimes you really have to fight when it comes to your relationship, when all the odds seem to be against you. And another word was endurance. And so a lot of times you really truly have to endure. And so Hebrews 12:1 says, therefore, we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and sin which is so easily ensnares us, and let us run with the endurance the race that is set before us. When we are fighting against all odds, the race is always won when we have God as our guide to make sure we are victorious in every way. And so, was there anything else that you wanted to mention or add to that?
One of the most highly liked comments from the Skin Deep interview that we did was a young lady. She said that this couple, I think it's commendable how vulnerable Lauren and I was during the interview, and how we allowed ourselves to kind of just flow, naturally, not even considering, the platform which we're speaking on, but just kind of having a pure heart-to-heart conversation. So we do get an opportunity to view the video. Definitely, it's one of those you're going to replay a few times. You might get a little teary-eyed, get your teacup ready. But just an opportunity to see how, love surpasses all, and how people can accept the challenge and overcome the challenge.
Oh my goodness, that is such a blessing to know that, in spite of everything, love conquers all. And so when you have conquered all the adversities, then you are complete in him. And 2 Corinthians 13:9 says, for we are glad when we are weak and you are strong. And this also we pray, that you may be made complete. And once again, when he is the center, when you keep him first in everything, you have nothing but blessings to come upon them. When he is your foundation. And so I love the fact that how you both mentioned that, you both said that. So I think that's a wonderful thing. And so, and you are complete in him who is head of all principalities and power. So that there's strength in him, there's power in him. And then you know that at the end of the day, when it's just the two of you, and you know that you're putting one another first, outside of God first, you're putting one another first. You know that the blessings are going to flow, and keep the lines of communication open at all times. All times. Okay, Mother. Hello, Mother. I know that you're watching. Okay. It says, talk about the long distance relationship for couples, the true test of love. Yeah, it is a true test of love when you have endured that. And I know it wasn't easy.
Yeah, it wasn't. We actually talk about it all the time because when I go over and visit him, it's a whole different world. It's a whole different world, and you're just there, and you're like, wow, like this place exists. Like it's just I can't describe it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you have to mentally, consciously like make that decision and be like, okay, I'm going to work out my relationship. Like you're all the way across the world, but I'm going to put in that effort.
Right.
I am going to make it work and communicate.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree with Lorna on that one. Because in a different continent, different time zone, as you mentioned before prior, 8 to 9 hours ahead, sometimes it can, if you're not careful, you can get lost as far as not to say in the moment, but you can get lost because you wake up, the person is your person is asleep.
Mm-hmm.
You got from work, they're just waking up. You're going to bed, they're either going on lunch break or whatever case, going with their day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do believe in the phrase "out of sight, out of mind," and what that means is that when you're not around someone, both physically or in tune spiritually, it's like the person does not exist. And so again, bringing us back to being intentional,
Right.
you have to put reminders in place. Create traditions, create a program, like a protocol. Some type of programming in which you have those little small nuances where you look forward to communicating with your person.
Right.
Yep.
Wow. My goodness. Lauren, what would you say was the hardest thing out of all of this? And what would you say was the result?
You mean like the relationship?
Mm-hmm.
I think probably COVID. And I say that because, in relationships, you have peaks and you have valleys, but sometimes you can cause things to happen.
Right.
But with COVID, it's like out of your control. Like it was like all we kept getting was no all year. Like, you can't do this. You can't do this.
Wow.
You can't do that. You can't do that. Guess what? You can't have your wedding. You can't see each other. You're not going on any of these trips. It was just like, it was just no. And all you could do was just take it because you can't travel. Yeah. It's all these restrictions. Mm-hmm. Like, he's in another country and he can't even come into the country because it's locked down. So I think that was the most difficult thing. And then like when you're frustrated, not like with each other, but the situation, you have to be careful in how you treat one another because you don't want to subconsciously take it out on them when they're not the problem because they're in it with you. Right. It's just the totality of the circumstances. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I think that COVID was the hardest thing. And like I said, it's been 326 days.
So you've been
he
counting.
Finally got to come back
in
the country and we got to like see one another. But the result of COVID is we communicate so good now because we didn't have a choice. We were forced to. Right. We're I guess, for lack of a better term, we're more eager to like work out and through our problems in our relationship. We don't like things fester. It's no like, oh, we're gonna go to bed mad and I'm not gonna talk to you. I'm gonna give you the silent treatment. It's like, all right, hold up. We're having a miscommunication, or how we're like to say, we're not aligned right now. We're not aligned, so I'm gonna run this back. And we just sit there and we'll talk, and we became more accountable. It's no like, I hear you, but this is how I feel, so you need to bow down to my feelings. It's like, I hear you, I empathize with you, I'm accountable for my actions, I sincerely apologize. What's the best way for us to move forward? How can we fix this? So I think that's what resulted out of it, and it made us closer and made us stronger, and it really made our communication hit like a new level.
Right. Wow. For you, Roy?
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges. I like to always, I take things from a holistic approach where I think every day presents different challenges, and I try to leave yesterday in yesterday.
Okay, that's
And
good.
so,
That's
today's a new slate. So what's my new challenge for today? However, given the situation, one of the biggest challenges, piggyback what Lauren was saying with COVID, not just COVID, but understand that things happen, right? And Martin Luther King had a very powerful quote. He says, the true testament of a man is not in the times when he's in a comfort zone, but when he's going through trials and tribulations. And how do you overcome that? And so we grew through understanding what happened, right? How things occurred, what's going on, and looking at each other and saying, hey, we're going to get through this.
Right.
We're not sure how. However, we will overcome. And so we took to again, being intentional, going back to our foundation, the very things that we stand on, hold on to, and stay true to, and use that as platforms to kind of tiptoe and walk us through the process.
Right.
One of the biggest things is mental health and stress.
Oh yeah.
Lauren and I definitely evaluate our stress levels and make sure that we do our best to keep those at a minimized level, which can involve getting more sleep. There's some periods where I'm like, Lauren, I need to get a little bit more sleep. Work is starting to take a toll of me, and I need to get more hours in. So that's going to require us to talk less.
Right.
And so you ask yourself, how that? You're a person across the world who's used to talking at a certain time for certain periods of time.
Yeah.
However, you're saying, hey, listen, stress has the power to kill, right? But also, if I know that I'm not at my best mentally, how can I be the best partner for you at this time? And so it's like you give up some to get back more. And so we kind of like went through those different I say exercises,
right,
to understand, and we grew. We learned that we can talk less and still be close, still be intentional.
Yeah.
Knowing that what we're doing is actually benefiting the other person. Mental health is very important. Going through things, not having things go your way. Sometimes people can develop some types of depressions, like symptoms.
We talk about that.
And to understand how to dissect that and communicate through that itself is another exercise. And so throughout this whole COVID pandemic and the lockdowns, we experienced from each other different mentally challenging things.
Yeah.
Understand that when you're going through it, you have small children, you're going to school, you're working, you have a schedule, a routine, and have that drastically change overnight. That itself can be mentally taxing. And so trying to dissect that, empathize that, although you can't see or touch or feel it, it's like it's very mental. But for me, what I grew stronger in is empathy. Trying to put myself in her shoes, but in a safe way. Not that I'm trying to be a problem solver, but I'm trying to understand her so I can communicate more effectively and be there the best way I can.
Oh wow, that's good.
He's gotten really good with that.
See, that's good, and that's the growing process, learning one another. Jackie said that's good, Roy. Going back to the foundation, what brought you together? Miss Price, hello, Irma, how are you doing?
Hi, Mama Price.
She said, God is the head of this household. Communicate with each other We pray for each other and together. And that's it. Prayer. We can't
Mhm.
forget prayer. You have to pray, and
pray
so
every day together.
and pray every day to see. That's amazing. And here you have a young couple that is really against all odds. I mean, you would think the odds would be against them. And so here it is that God has put them together, and they know the successful keys: prayer, keeping God first, being intentional. And so these are some important things that you need to hold on to in reference to getting more growth and strength into your relationship.
Oh, another thing is, Roy and we actively protect our relationship. Like, we set so many boundaries. We're very, very private about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was because of that first year and how much we were like forced to grow that first year and
Mhm.
everything that we experienced.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we really worked hard to make this what we want it to be, because your relationship is what you make it.
Yep.
You water it, you nourish it, it's going to be beautiful.
Exactly.
You neglect it, you don't treat it right, it's going to die and wither away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because we spent so much time investing into one another,
Mm-hmm.
it's like we like this. We
Mhm.
protecting what's ours,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to make sure that it remains healthy and a safe space.
See,
And that's important.
that is awesome. Sherelle says, yes, it is. Pray all day, every day.
Yes, cousin.
yes, Sherelle. That's amazing because, even with, your dad and I, it's a thing where we're very private about our relationship as well. We don't, it's like if I get upset with him, I'm not calling my girlfriend and saying, hey, he did this or he did that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not calling anybody else saying, hey, we had an argument, he worked, none of that. We work our issues out. And so if that means taking a few minutes apart, maybe an hour apart to kind of get our heads together, then so be it. But at the end of the day, we're coming back together because, you hear the old saying, never go to bed angry. And that's the thing for us. We don't go to bed angry. And so, you don't want to do that. And you don't want to ever leave the house angry. And I said this a few months ago when I did one of my sessions. I was talking about how, a couple can, you can agree to disagree. But when you leave that house, you don't know what's going to happen once you leave the house. And the last thing you remember was the argument that you had, or that you were mad or angry. And so that's not the type of thing that you want to do. And so I'm just thankful that at this stage in both your lives, you both have busy careers and, being parents and that it's not easy when you tie everything together. But once again, when you know your foundation and that foundation has been laid, and you protect your relationship, you protect one another, that is the starting point right there. Jackie says, Lauren, that's good. Keep your relationship private. You have to.
Yeah, you really do.
You really do. And so the thing about it is, I can't stress that enough. And I talk about that and how to be a God wife, not just a good wife. You cannot. Your relationship is an investment.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can't expose what you're doing in that relationship, your investment, to other people outside, because, again, there are going to be people that are going to be for your relationship. There are people going to be against your relationship, and there are going to be people that are envious of your relationship. Mm-hmm. So when you don't know someone's direct motive concerning your relationship, they don't need to know what's going on.
Exactly.
They do not. And so when it comes to that being very private,
I will say it does help because Ray and I did premarital counseling.
Mm-hmm.
It's helpful to have like a spiritual guide,
yes.
because sometimes we're not. It's not happening. Like, we're not clicking, and sometimes you need like a third person to intervene that you trust, that is supportive of your relationship, that is aligned with the same goals that you have for your relationship. And that's not gonna be like, girl, leave him, or dog, couldn't be me. Like,
Right.
It's like too many women out here. It's like somebody that's really going to be like, all right, let's break this down, help y'all navigate through it. And then sometimes it's also great to have like-minded couples as well, or, trusted friends too, that that you can talk to. and you don't have to worry about them being messy or drama, like filled with drama in your relationship. I think it is also important to have that. So I want to say that as well.
I wanted to bring about the thing where the time that you got sick, and I thought it was so cute, and it's still that still touches my heart because people, some guys don't think about that, but when you got sick, he bought all the stuff, the tissues and everything he thought that was going to help you feel better. He brought it over to you. I thought that was really sweet.
So when
tell a story, Lauren.
Yeah, he was like, Lauren, you tell a story. Okay, so Roy and I had been dating probably 2 weeks at that point, 3 weeks, and I got really, really, really sick. I don't know what was going on with me, but when I'm sick, I don't want to talk to nobody. I like isolate myself. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to be bothered. Just leave me alone. Let me be sick in peace.
Yes.
And I wasn't really talking to him. So it's like, okay, red flag alert. I'm talking to this girl and she just dip out. Like, what happened? And I had this one that said, hey, I'm sick. When I'm sick, I don't like talking. I just want to be left alone. Like, that's just how I handle being sick.
Right.
So he calls me up. And he's like, hey, I'm on your side of town, because he lived in downtown and I lived out like 20 minutes away. And he was like, I just want to drop something off at your house. And it was like 10 o'clock at night.
Almost 11.
I was like,
he remembers.
I don't have, we're not doing this. I don't know what kind of girl you think I am. You ain't coming up in here.
She said she was sick.
So, I don't know. So I was like, okay. He was like, I don't even want to come inside. I'm like, okay, right. And he was like, no, seriously. So it's pouring down raining.
Mm-hmm.
So then he calls me. I let him in through the gate, and I hear a knock on my door. And he's in some Nike flip-flops, some socks, and some basketball, some Nike flip-flops and some basketball.
He said, come as you are.
Some Nike flip-flops and some basketball shorts. And he has this big box. And it's like Kleenex, Vicks, Dayquil, NyQuil, Tylenol, Mucinex, Theraflu, like any cough medicine, VapoRub, anything that has ever been made, name brand. I gotta say name brand.
Name brand, no generic.
No wall drill, no. It was in this box. Like, it could have lasted forever. And he was like, I know you're not feeling well. I don't know what's wrong with you. I haven't really heard from you, but I just want you to feel better. Here you go. And I hope you have a good night. And he just walks away. And I'm sitting here like, oh.
So we talked on the phone.
Wow.
We talked on the phone. You said you weren't feeling well. I acknowledge that. You say, a headache or a cough, something like that. So Lauren didn't know, but me being an engineer, I went to fix him. How can I solve this problem?
Yeah, he is Mr. Fix-It.
I can overcome this obstacle to get us back aligned, to get everything back flowing. And so I just went to the store. I said, all right, I'm going to figure this out. I went there, got the Kleenex, got the cough mask. So I said, now, if this can't fix the problem, we got to send her into the emergency room. I got her everything she needed, and get something that lasts for the rest of the year.
No,
I didn't want to solve the problem, but make sure it doesn't come back again.
Wow. And I thought that was just such a lovely gesture. And this is only 2 weeks. So that said a lot, because the fact that he was concerned and that he cared. Mm-hmm. And it was like, okay, well, she don't want to talk to me. Well, good. I don't want to talk to her either. It was none of that. It was like, I really want her to feel better.
I hope you feel better. We can link up when you get back. Right.
Get better. Hit me up when you feel better. Right. I mean, it could have been any of that, but it wasn't. And so my thing is, he had got brownie points. When I heard that story, I was like, wow, who does that? And then you talk about young people now, everybody's out really thinking for themselves. And it's like, it's not a considered. So the fact that he had sympathy for you and compassion for you, that was powerful. That was powerful. And to do that. And so that was a blessing. Your dad says mom and dad didn't raise you like that. Okay. Jacqueline says, Nike flip-flops in the rain to bring you everything you need to get well, But 2 weeks into your relationship, yes, Lauren, you have a good man. Congratulations.
I do have a good man. I'm grateful. I do have a good one.
Yeah, and so we are. So I love the fact that when we first met him, I know your dad was like, yeah, I'm still watching you. You know, he wasn't trying to feel, he didn't care about what you did. He didn't care about none of that. He wanted to see for himself because, he's just not going to just, be readily, oh, hey man, how you doing? No, he had to check things out for himself. Now it's a whole nother story, isn't it, Lauren?
Oh my God.
I always
It is.
I was raised by much older relatives in my family, and they've always told me, lip service, nothing. Let your actions and deeds speak for themselves. So I tend to lean more toward the things that I do, or what my actions, because I know even if I'm not here physically, the things I do speaks louder than words.
Yeah,
and you follow through with what you say. If you say you're gonna do something, it gets done. Like with the HVAC system recently, I called you in the middle of the night. It was like, babe, something's wrong, and he was like, it's handled. I was like, okay.
From overseas.
Overseas, like the next day, it was
handled
like,
it.
It was fixed.
On it. It was fixed. And that's what I love about your dad, because he was basically, his grandparents were a big part of his life, and as well as his mom, and so they instilled values into him that even as a young man, and he was young when I married him, but we won't go into all that. He was young. He's still young. But the thing about it was the values that they set for him, the foundation that they set for him, it spoke volumes. And so when I finally met his grandparents, when I finally met his mom, I could see why he had the values that he had. And so his mindset was always of a more mature person. And I like that. And I see that with Roy. And I see how he does. He handles it. I happened to be there in South Carolina when the phone call was made. And I happened to be there in South Carolina when the guy came and fixed it the next day. So he over in Dubai on the other side of the world, and it was done. It was handled. And so I admire that. And I thank God for a young man who has a thought process of getting things done, being a man of his word. And that's what you want for your children. You want your daughter to have that male or that husband to come into her life, or the one that she's seeing come into her life and has her best foot forward and thinking about her. And he's also a person that's a planner. He's a man of his word. And the same thing, if you have a son, you want your son to have someone that has, she's a woman of her word. She's a woman of virtue. She has character. She has integrity. That's what you want for your children to be involved in. And eventually, hopefully, when they marry, that's what they end up with, a spouse that not only keeps God first or as the foundation, but they consider the feelings of their spouse. And so that's what you want in your life.
And the thing that I love about Roy, he's not just your average representative, because after a while the representative disappears and you see the actual person. Roy is a man of integrity. Mm-hmm. What you see is what you get. There's no phoniness about it. Mm-hmm. And that's what you want in any man that's looking to take your daughter's hand in marriage.
Yep.
And that he has the heart and the compassion to walk into a ready-made family and see Jalen as his own and treat him as such. Mm-hmm. That speaks volume. And that's what I was looking at. It wasn't anything against him or what it was that he was doing for his life. It was how he was going to treat my daughter as well as my grandson.
Mm-hmm. And that's important. And so, when we look at Roy, we look at him as our son, because that's what he is. And that's how he is with us. And so now he and Mike's relationship is like, even when we did the video for Mike's birthday, surprise video, he was like, oh yeah, oh wow, that's nice. Roy, when Roy comes, Roy, yes. Roy. And we were like, okay, wow, And then the finale, when he saw his grandfather and his grandmother, that because we saved the best for last in reference to the fact that he was not expecting to see his grandfather or his grandmother in the video. But when Roy came up there, Lauren and I was like,
Oh, we piece of meat with us.
with yeah, when Roy's around, it's like we don't, we really don't exist.
Don't exist at all.
But remember what I said in the beginning. It was like, okay, I'm still watching you. Now it's like, oh, Roy coming home, and yeah, he's real. And see that, and that's how my husband is. It's no fake pretenses with him. What you see is what you get. He does not have a poker face, my husband. I'm still praying about that. He's working on the poker face. But when it comes to when he loves you, he loves you. And so that's how he feels about Roy. That's how he feels about his family. And so that's important. Bottom line is, you want somebody that is going to consider your feelings, and is somebody that's going to know and have a relationship with the Lord, period. Jacqueline says a man taking care of home, even when he's in another country, is his woman will not be in distress. That's right. That's a man. Because let me tell you, the same thing with my husband, Mike. He was over in on the other side. I had something happen on the computer. I don't know how. I still don't. But you know what? The thing about it is, when I talked to him, and we were talking face to face, and I said, hey, such and such and such. The next thing I knew, if it didn't arrive at the door, he was calling me. I was in the process of trying to move, and he handled it from there. So a lot of times when we look at their relationship, we oftentimes say it reminds us of our relationship in the respect of him being away and her being, here stateside or whatever. It's just phenomenal. And so I just want to say that they are just a blessing. And I want you to continue to put God first, continue to love one another, continue to respect one another, because that is so important. And so I really pray that you all have enjoyed tonight's session. Also, again, what was the title?
Please watch our Skin Deep video. If you type in the Skin Deep on YouTube, it was posted on October 3rd. Again, I am going to post a link in the comment and the trailer video from when we did it. We did it about a couple months ago. And hopefully you all enjoy it.
Also, just to piggyback off that, I did a test, Google query search or YouTube query search. If you go in the search bar, type in Roy and Lauren. It's the second to third video, and you'll see it says Skin Deep. You'll see our picture and link there.
And I think the title was like "COVID Won't Stop Me from Marrying You."
Correct.
Yeah. So.
Wow. That's awesome. That is so
And
awesome.
also, I will be blogging about it on Legal and Abroad. And my website is www.legalandabroad.com. The Instagram name is the same. It's a travel, lifestyle, and legal blog. So look out for that soon.
And also, if you are interested in my book, How to Be a God Wife, Not Just a Good Wife, that is available on all digital outlets. Also, my book, Daughter of Thunder, The Calm After the Storm, is also available on digital outlets. And I do have PayPal. So if you're interested in getting these books, please let me know. And I'll be more than happy to make sure that you get it. And so I want to thank you, Roy, and thank you, Lauren, so much. I'm glad to have both of you home. It means a great deal to me. We're definitely glad to have Roy home because it's been almost a year since we've seen you. And so it's just been a blessing altogether. I think Mom has something up here. What did she say? She says, your grandfather was of the same mindset, and that is a sign of a keeper. That's exactly right, Mom. That's exactly right. You know when you have a keeper. And so I love you both. I thank you so much for taking the time out because you didn't have to. Yeah. And so I want to thank everyone tonight for joining. And then Sherelle says, I love my cousin's bond. It's like super gorilla glue. All right, now say that. Cousin. And hello, Kayla Reese.
Thank you,
Kayla. Thank you all so much for joining tonight. And so some of the responses I haven't been able to see because of how we're set up, but I promise you I will respond to all the comments. And I thank you so much because you join me every Sunday at 6:30, and I look forward to it. So thank you again. I want to say God bless you all. I pray that you all have a phenomenal week. MD says, beautiful couple, wishing only the best for you guys. Love and prayers.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a blessing. Good seeing you, Roy and Lauren, April and Uncle Mike.
Thanks,
you
cousin.
too, you too, baby girl. So I'm going to go out. I'm going to just speak blessings upon you both. And so I'm going to pray right now that God continue to bless and keep you, that you will continue to unite as one. And no matter what comes against you, that you will always seek God and keep him first in your life. And Father, I thank you that they are a blessing, oh God, that they will touch the lives of millions, God, that they will come across as a couple that have endured, oh God. They are complete in you, oh God. And Father, I thank you that they show their love that they have, not only for you, but for one another. And Father, I ask that you bless those who came on tonight, God. I ask that you bless and keep them always, Lord. Father, I pray that they've taken something away this evening, oh God, that they can use in their life, oh God. And Father, I thank you right now that you are our love, our peace, and our joy. And I give you all glory. I give you all honor and praise. For it's in Jesus' name that we pray tonight. Amen. Amen. All right. So you all, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anytime.
All right, you guys. Love you all. We will see you next Sunday at 6:30 p.m. sharp. And that's Eastern Standard Time. And then 5:30 p.m. sharp Central Standard Time. I love you all. Thank you so much for joining. God bless you and good night.